We're bringing you those live images now from Manyanja Road in Donholm, quite close to the Jacaranda grounds where NASA was supposed to hold their memorial prayers today. What we saw a few minutes ago was NASA leader Raila Odinga addressing his supporters there. He began by walking them through the year that has been, what has happened, from a NASA perspective, sort of a narrative, events that have happened or transpired since this political process began up until today. He then went on to reference the People's Assembly that, he emphasized this is the future, this is where the people's voice will be heard, and then he assured his supporters that it's not over. Just because of what has happened in Kasarani today does not mean that the journey for NASA is over. And of course, we'll be talking to Sam Ogina in just a bit. Just to clarify exactly what the NASA leader had to say, of course, we picked up those live images halfway through his speech. And so Sam Ogina or even Stephen Leto will be able to tell us a little bit about what has happened. But just in case you joined us, there was a rally of sorts that was taking place at this location a couple of minutes ago, but it has now been dispersed by security forces there. It began with a few tear gas canisters being lobbed into the crowd, and thereafter the clear presence of police there to disperse all those who were in attendance. And now we can see them chasing the supporters far into the estates, away from this location so they do not assemble again. And of course, some sort of degeneration into running battles where you see supporters or youth there with stones and any sort of projectiles that they can get their hands on, and the police countering with tear gas canisters and firing into the air as well, so as to disperse them. And members of the press in the middle of this all trying to get you at home those pictures throughout the course of this very historic day in Kenya. Images from Kasarani where we saw President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto being sworn in for a second term. But now on the other side of town on Manyanja Road, this is in Donholm, a different picture altogether. And this is what is happening there at this moment. Let me come to you now, Prof. Kisiangani. This is basically what you alluded to just before we took these images in. You were talking about the fact that going to another election on the 26th of October revealed the divisive nature of our country as is, that many have said that we are okay, we have no problems, we are a bastion of peace and democracy, but nevertheless, these were not the images that many had hoped to see today. Okay, Prof, you can come in now. Just your thoughts. Even we've been in studio watching all this unfold. Your take?
It's a demonstration of, as we said, a demonstration of the problems we have in this country. And I think if you looked at the speeches, the president even alluded to this situation. I think he appreciates there is this situation unfolding, because he says even those who didn't vote for me, the president is aware that there are people who did not vote for him, including those who have now said, including Raila Odinga, that they don't recognize his presidency. So the bottom line is, what do we do in this kind of situation? You can see that one side of Nairobi is laughing and enjoying, another side is sad, and the police, same police paid by the taxpayers. One group is escorting visitors in peace, another group is fighting with the demonstrators. This is not a good situation, but it is a situation that, if you look at the speech of the president, is a situation that we can sort out. I think it would be difficult for the president, for example, to start negotiating with somebody who doesn't recognize him. But since he said he is the president of all, he must still not be pushed by what we are seeing on the streets and say, because they have said they don't recognize me, I'm not going to talk to them. If he does that, the country will completely, disintegrate. But if he says now, even if you don't recognize me, legally, I have satisfied the legal requirements of being president, so I have to be the one initiating certain programs. I have these MCAs who are there, I have these senators who are there. Some of the things you demand will require a legislative approach. And without these people who supported me, nothing will move. So can we talk? I think, despite what we are seeing, I'm sure the president should be thinking, I have still got to go and talk. I think he will approach them and still ask to be told.
He has very little time to find a common position with NASA leader Raila Odinga, because in that same speech, part of what we had as he was addressing his supporters is that on the 12th of December, Jamhuri Day, the People's Assembly will be the location, or will form a grouping that will swear him in. He will be Jamhuri Day, yes. And Yeah, I mean, your reaction to that. We were trying to confirm that that's what he actually said in that rally.
You see, the bottom line is forming a government in a manner that is not provided for in the Constitution will create a problem. That is a problem I think we must appreciate. The Constitution allows us to form government in a particular way. So if he's going to be sworn in and without the instruments of power, what impact does that have? So in my opinion, probably there is chance that he is talking about forming a government to raise the stakes. To raise the stakes so that
during the time of negotiations,
so that during the time of negotiations he has a chance to get certain things his own way. If he kept quiet right now, probably he would be ignored. But when he ruffles feathers like this, before 12th of December, I think a number of people will have reached him. But in terms of impact, I think if we have had the Chief Justice, the judiciary has presided over today's function and before that it declared Uhuru as duly elected, IEBC has done that. All those institutions have done that. I think NASA should look for the constitutional means by which it can get power. I think, let's not make this mistake. Some people think that what NASA has been doing through county assemblies is illegal. It is not. If you look at Article 1 and 2 of the Constitution, you know sovereignty of the people, all sovereignty belongs to the people of Kenya. And 2, it says that the sovereignty of the people can be practiced directly by the people or through their elected representatives. So for example, these county assemblies are not illegal. They are a statement from the point of view of direct exercising of people's sovereignty.
Although they don't have structures.
They don't have structures, but they are still legal. But even when they pass certain legal things, they need to now engage. They are telling the organized groups like Parliament that, look, you are not doing the job we asked you to do. So we want now to set the agenda for you. So if they decide they want a referendum, now they tell them, now we are directing you, you go and do this. But if Parliament, for some reason, does not do what they do, we have what you call the recall clause within the Constitution. Some of the elected leaders should be recalled if they are not doing the job we want. Because you know, if you are a People's Assembly and you just say, we have passed this, how do you make it into law or effective? So
on that question, Prof, I'll interrupt you to get an update now from Sam Ogina, who has just been monitoring the activities along Manyanja Road. Sam, what can you tell us now?
Well, Wahiga Maura, as you can see, Mr. White is coming to you from Manyanja Road. This is exactly where the former Prime Minister and not the President was coming to he actually just finished his address and passing over the mic to his spokesperson running the Australian government before all hell broke loose, essentially. The security officers firing tear gas to disperse that is NASA supporters from gaining entry into Jacaranda and as we are talking right now, what we're seeing is security officers trying to repulse and push back supporters far away from really gaining entry into that particular stadium. Of course, in his address,
the former Prime Minister and NASA presidential candidate saying that he does not recognize President Uhuru Kenyatta as president, this despite the swearing-in ceremony that has happened today. And from the background, as you can see, is security officers engaging protest, or rather supporters in running battles, and NASA supporters just pelting stones towards security officers as they are being actually pushed back by tear gas canisters, as it were. And as I was saying, really, all hell broke loose after NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga had finished his address, and in his address, of course, saying that he does not recognize today's swearing in, and as such, saying that he is not going to be sworn in today as had earlier been anticipated or touted by a section of leaders from NASA affiliate parties, and saying that he does not want a situation of Besigye in Uganda happening here in Kenya, where someone is sworn in, but he does not have the instruments of power, saying that what is going to happen is when they have that first inaugural the People's Assembly, that is when he is going actually to be sworn in and take over office officially, as it were. So that is actually what has transpired, and as you can see at the foreground, that is NASA supporters actually being repulsed, and if you just tap it, you will see security officers here doing all they can, really, to push back supporters of NASA from this particular area, clearing this particular stretch of the road. And as you see, as much as the security officers are moving on foot to clear the road, they're also being followed by their trucks. The trucks really to supplement the efforts of security officers, as well as if at all they run out of tear gas canisters, then there is actually a refill on standby, as it were. And a barricade here just erected right now, trying to block these trucks from making their way or following NASA supporters wherever they are. Of course, the convoy that had accompanied Raila Odinga, everyone scampering to safety. It was a battery of leaders really coming together to back or give support to NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga in his cause, a cause that is really to oppose the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and his subsequent swearing-in ceremony today, as it were, Waihiga.
Sam Ogena, just for letting us know. Sorry, Sam, you need to add something?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, no. Thank you so much, Sam Ogena, for that update. As soon as you can tell us more, do we know, for all intents and purposes, whether this is the end of NASA's activities for today, or have they hoped to congregate somewhere else? Once you have that information, Sam, kindly let us know. Sam is just along Manyanja Road, where about 30 minutes or so ago, NASA leader Raila Odinga was in the middle of a rally, and the activities there were disrupted by the police. And these are some of those images after that. Let's now take you back to State House, where we know that guests are arriving now for a luncheon that, of course, will be not really a luncheon when you're talking about 3:30 going on to 4, but nevertheless, that is the intent of this, that after all the activities at Kasarani, guests will now congregate here, and those who have been invited to eat, dine with the president and his deputy and their families, and of course to relax after what has been a busy electioneering period and a very hectic first part of the day, when all activities, all eyes were focused at Kasarani for those activities. Let me come to you, Kakai Kissinger, and just before, let's take you back to Manyanja Road as well, just continue showing you how the roads have been barricaded, and of course at movement limited at this time. We can see some bonfires being lit in the distance there. Our cameraman trying to get you those best shots, but of course trying to stay safe as well, so you can understand why his pictures are like that. He's trying to just ensure that he is safe, even as he continues to bring you those images. So we can see it's sort of cat and mouse chase here. The youth retreat, set or barricade the roads, light bonfires, move further back again as soon as the police get to that location. And you can expect this to play out for the next hour or even more, depending on how aggressive these youth will be in really engaging our security forces in that part of the city. Kakai, you had wanted just to respond to what Prof had to say, but as we continue bringing our viewers those images.
I think this now it takes us back to where we were when the president was making a speech, and those critical things we spoke about that the president identified in the speech, that he will be dealing with them. And remember that the president has sworn on to the Constitution that he will abide by the rule of law and guide Kenyans and protect Kenyans' lives and protect Kenyans' property. And therefore the back now shifts tremendously from now what's happening politically to the president in terms of taking charge of what will happen. Now, remember that this is a constitution. This is a constitution that gives the responsibility to the president to do all he can do in terms of protecting Kenyans' lives and property. But at the same time, the same constitution gives other political opponents a responsibility and a responsibility to carry out demonstrations or picket in an orderly manner. So it's the same constitution that we are balancing with. And remember that this is not the first time Kenya we are finding ourselves in this. I think it's historical. Now, when you look at the development of the constitution prior to 2010, the Kenyans came up with this, what we are calling a very progressive constitution. And I think if you had the speech of the president, he also talked about us Kenyans having a very progressive constitution. Now, this is the challenges and the beauty of democracy. How do you then, as a leader or a head of state, balance between rights and at the same time provide, or what does the law say in terms of checks and balances and the limits that democracy has to society? So we are going to see this going ahead because that is just the nature of our constitution.
You also had wanted to talk a little bit about the People's Assembly.
Yes, I'm coming to that. But then what is important is that the current constitution is a product of, and Honorable Raila participated a lot in terms of passing the current constitution. And in this country, we say is an opposition and also is a figure father in terms of constitutionalism. And therefore, he knows exactly what the constitution says. He knows exactly the limits of the constitution and the issues of democracy. So he's aware and is playing into that gallery in terms of knowing what it is. Now, we have solved the issue of the legalese of it. Now, it appears, therefore, that the politics will still continue being with us as we continue into the next time. But when you look at the pronunciation that will be sworn in on the 12th of December 2017, you ask yourself one basic question, is that already this issue of the People's Assembly is already in the ambit or in the custody of the judiciary. I think the judiciary, like the judge in Kitui, made a decision about 2 or 3 weeks ago where basically he froze all activities in relation to the People's Assembly. Now, that case, if my memory serves me well, is coming up sometimes on 14th of January next year. So at the moment, there's a freeze in the sense that the courts, I think, want to understand what is this thing called People's Assembly. We understand that power devolves to the people and is for the people, but then there are other structures that have been established by the very same constitution through the MCAs and all that in terms of elected representatives. So I think the court wants to understand what is the impact of People's Assembly. And there's an order already out there in terms of
so there is freezing. No way they can meet on that.
So legally, I don't understand, or I don't see how they can then meet and swear him in on 12th of December when there's already a court order freezing all activities in relation to People's Assembly and it's in the public domain. And therefore, it then hinges on the issues of unconstitutionality in terms of the actions or the actions that the people are proposing to do. So it's an issue of, to an extent and to a very large extent, I want to agree with what Prof talked about in terms of, and I think I have to second that in terms of, I think it's a bargain chip that is on the block.
Let me allow my guests here to take a short break, and even for you at home, we take a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll bring you live images from State House, where that mansion is set to begin any minute now. We'll also continue monitoring activities along Manyanja Road, Donholm, where right now we can see the police pushing back supporters, youths of the National Super Alliance who were part of a rally that was disrupted about 30 minutes ago. So you're watching Citizen TV. We'll be right back.
Sasa presents Talk of Town. Lillian Mooley bears it all and reveals the man of her dreams.
I think he's a real man. He's dark, he's strong, he's smart, he's brilliant.
Did you know she has 2 master's degrees? And you won't believe what she's aiming for next.
I really feel that I should give back to communication students.
You can watch Talk of Town on your mobile phone with new episodes every week. Download ViewSasa from Google Play Store or Apple Store, or by sending the word ViewSasa to 40984. Exclusively on ViewSasa. ViewSasa presents Chibora.
Ile Kawandi. Surprise. Nakuletela. Ndiye smartphone. Ndapanga tu ndinde toti kona ngobya pombekelede.
Oni ngweteri mwari ongoge bandetera dimo ate smartphone. Dimwege kure. Kera ante die kotakura irio riko. Kana koteke ria reteke riko. Kera to kotake dakanje.
View Sasa, celebrating Kenya's diversity. You can watch Chibora on your mobile phone exclusively on View Sasa. To download the View Sasa app, SMS the word View Sasa to 40984.
Now we talk opportunities. When it's a new business, it's like a new baby. It requires a lot of attention. Ideas, innovation, challenges and passion.
Most of the chemicals you have to import. Not most, I would say 99% of the chemicals you import.
On all matters, business.
Once we identify how they are going to achieve those objectives, we structure products that are appropriate for them.
What it takes every Thursday on Citizen Television.
What it takes, powered by Standard Chartered Bank.
Standard Chartered, here for good.
Colored corduroys, earth-tone cotton slacks, grey wool flannel trousers or jeans in a darker color and clothes fit are always stylish and help improve one's style.
To our fashionable customers, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The only family fashion store you can trust.
Beautiful people, collection.
Nilinunua sabuni ya Imperial 200 grams na hii lotion ya kujipaka Japanese bar. Na hii pesa ndainua biashara yangu na nilikuwa na miradi zingine nilikuwa nataka kuanza.
A little luxury every day with Imperial Leather could bring you luxurious holidays. Simply buy Imperial Leather participating products, reveal your unique code, and SMS it to 21075. Imperial Leather. A little luxury goes a long way.
Stay refreshed with Coca-Cola. Jibambe na Coke Studio. Buy any glass bottle of Coca-Cola with a golden crown. Check under the crown for an 8-digit code. SMS the code to 40111 to get 7 SMSs and 7 MB data bundles. Jibambe with Coke Studio.
Technical University of Mombasa invites you to its 5th graduation ceremony to be held on Thursday, 30th November.
I want to welcome you all to our 5th graduation ceremony, which will take place on Thursday, 30th of November.
This is indeed a very special moment for the university. We will be graduating students from several faculties.
We have embarked on the School of Medicine, which is almost complete.
As you are aware, the Technical University of Mombasa has won several awards in innovation.
And I want to welcome you all to the only university at sea level.
When you use M-Visa to pay, you avoid all the hassles that come with modern living. Simply scan, pay, and go. Introducing M-Visa, the new way to pay with your mobile phone. Talk to your bank to live free today. Visa. Everywhere you want to be.
My hair speaks volumes about me. It's my crowning glory. I use only the best braids with volume to achieve any style. Sassy for a day out with a girl, or simple and effortless. Style to suit any moment, to add charm and class, to be any woman, anytime. Abuja braid, extra volume for more style.
View Sasa presents Hotel of Secrets.
Christina. What a charming name. The Grand Hotel is an excellent place to work in.
Christina lost her job at this hotel, then disappeared.
I put my life at risk to keep your secrets, and I'm forced to do it. And you can't even help me take this little pot of tea to the garden?
Hotel of Secrets. A story of mystery, danger, and romance.
Never again without you.
Never again without you.
You can watch Hotel of Secrets on your mobile phone exclusively on Viusasa. Download Viusasa from Google Play Store or Apple Store, or by sending the word Viusasa to 40984. Exclusively on Viusasa. Viusasa presents Katendoni.
Wata wenda ngobe siana. Atuwe mbobe. Wendi langile. Kongwa nambo isi yako isi ya nange kalangio. Hindi na baki we. Mwenye wa lusi yako. Ano ndiso bete. Sirike ngutaeke letuka. Lusi mundu umenda hai. Mboka taizi ukakua. Ukazi ukatilangila unumba haikuona. Kitongo ukatilanga. Ukadamdeneza haikuona ba unumba.
Viusasa. Celebrating Kenya's diversity. You can watch Katendoni on your mobile phone exclusively on Viusasa. To download the Viusasa app, SMS the word Viusasa to 40984.
Stay refreshed with Coca-Cola, Jibambe, na Coke Studio. Buy any glass bottle of Coca-Cola with a golden crown. Check under the crown for an 8-digit code. SMS the code to 40111 to get 7 SMSs and 7 MB data bundles. Jibambe with Coke Studio.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
From the first time you saw her, and the first time she saw you. For the first time he tasted something good. And the first time you knew he had good taste. Only a mother will ever know everything a child goes through in the early years. And we are proud to share those memories because we were always there with you. So Soft Fabric Softener, the scent of beautiful memories.
So Soft 2.5 liters was 510 Kenya shillings and is now 400.